Hi, and welcome to Toking Points. You're tuned in with me, Swaggy Roaches, founder of the pro-cannabis band Stony Doom, and now we're expanding our network in exciting new ways. This is the place where we dive into deep, honest conversations with guests from the music scene, the cannabis world, and beyond. On Toking Points, we're here to break down the stigma, share personal stories, and normalize cannabis culture. From artists to activists, we're opening up the conversation about what cannabis means in today's world and how it's shaping lives, careers, and communities. This segment is proudly brought to you by The Stash Underground Rock and Metal, the home for all things heavy and high. Before we get started, just a quick note, many of the topics we cover are still controversial. Some of our guests have taken real risks, putting their livelihoods and privacy on the line to share their personal experiences. So while this content is open to the public, we ask that you respect the privacy and lives of those who've shared their stories with us. Now, let's spark up and talk about it. All right, I'm sitting down with Randall Platt of Buzzard Fight right now. Randall, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? Not much.
We're just going to roll right into it. We're going to talk about weed, and we're going to shoot the shit for a little bit, all right?
All right.
All right, man. Question number one, what is your favorite method of consuming?
I'm just old school joint roller, man. I really like the craft of rolling of weird joints. You know, for a little bit, I'd hyper focus in on like shit on YouTube and watch like joint rolling competitions. And I don't know, I just like putting little filters in them, glass tips, whatever, and just rolling my own like large leaf size blunts and joints.
Classic. Or you like blunts too? You said you like Swisher pepper.
Well, let me grab this thing real quick.
Other tobacco, leaf paper, and hemp wraps and whatnot.
Just got this thing, and like you put a skewer through it,
Ooh.
And you just keep packing and it makes like a can agar.
Yeah.
And you take the skewer out and you just roll on whatever paper. And I usually roll a glass tip in there, and they usually last for about an hour and a half. It's pretty nuts. I mean,
I haven't done the canagars at all yet, but those, I've seen those. Those seem really neat.
Eventually, I'll get a little dab machine too, so I can start making wax and like put wax in the paper and stuff.
Yeah, so we got our own heat press for making T-shirts.
That works good
sublimation
too.
prints, and one of my bandmates. Funny enough, I hadn't even thought of it. One of the bandmates was like, "We can make dabs now," and I was like, "Holy shit, you're right."
Yeah, my friend used to make all sorts of T-shirt hash.
Yeah, man. That's a good little cross business there. So you're a old school herb guy. You like rolling it. Do you like edibles or anything else?
I do love edibles, but like I can smoke so much, but like I can only take very little edibles. You know what I mean? Like,
same way. Yeah.
25 milligrams, like plenty for me.
Yep.
Like my buddy, he just went to Superflea and bought 1,000 milligram drink for $20 at Superflea, and he drank the whole thing. And I was like, dude, I would die, dude. And like, I mean, I don't know, I can't, but I love him though. Because he fucked me up so much.
That'd bring some emotions up in me, maybe some tears. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, man, edibles hit me different. Drinks and stuff. I have yet to try any drinks.
The drinks are great.
Drinks
like
cool, though.
You just get like the little Keef sodas.
Yeah, I want to try those still.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yep.
I sent them a message a while back because I was drinking a bunch of them to see if they would sponsor Buzzard Fight, but I never heard back from them. Right. I was like, dude, I'll put it in videos, you know?
You tried. Yeah, man. We're the same way. We're like, let us put you on stage with us. We'll represent. We love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about creativity. How do you feel like cannabis impacts your creativity, music, artistically, in your life?
I would say a lot. Like, like usually when I'll smoke, and then I'll like randomly just pick up my guitar a lot and just like noodle around, and like I'll zone the fuck out, and then all of a sudden be like, oh shit, what was that? Like, I always feel like you're just kind of channeling songs from a higher consciousness anyways. Like, so I feel like it makes me tune in a little better to
Yeah.
fucking get what the fuck needs to come out of me, you know?
Yep, puts you in the zone.
For sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, it just makes you say funny shit that you got to remember, and you're like, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea for whatever the fuck.
Have you been smoking weed about as long as you've been playing music?
I did, like, I smoked kind of a lot when I was young, and then I turned 21 and I started drinking way too much, which led to DWIs, which means I was on, like, had to take drug tests, so I didn't smoke as much, so I just kept fucking drinking more, and I ended up like 3 DWIs, and then the last time I was on like 5 years probation, and I was like, all right, when I get off papers this time, I'm just gonna become the biggest pothead I can, and like smoke a lot more weed and drink a lot less, and that's worked out for me. So that's been about almost 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, and by the grace of God, you've stayed out of trouble since, right?
Yeah.
Life's crazy like that.
Yeah.
Well,
and I mean, soon I was like, oh man, and also like, I can get really fucked up and still wake up and go to work in the morning, you know?
Absolutely.
I fucking feel like shit.
Well, you can get really fucked up and arguably be a very functional person.
Yeah.
So, gotta love it.
I mean, I do drive a lot slower high. You know?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm like a grandma. I'm just like
a lot more cautiously, as we say. Yeah. But that hasn't caused any or too many accidents, to my knowledge. So I'll take it.
For sure.
You live on the Missouri side, correct?
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about getting wrapped up with the law at all for using cannabis and leaning on that.
Not really. No, I mean, I moved from Texas, so like then I was here for about a year and a half, and then it became legal.
Okay.
But now they're trying to ban every THC sale in Texas. Texas was kind of shitty about it, you know.
Yeah. Texas is about right up there with Kansas, to my understanding, as far as the strictness, as far as the way the law wants to treat it. Which, although funny enough, you know, in the major cities, especially like Austin, when I went down and visited in Austin, there was a lot of people just out smoking weed in public. And
yeah, it's more like a Lawrence, you know, how it's like $1 fine or something.
A lot more acceptable. Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe that's it. So there's certain factors or loopholes.
It's like they decriminalized it to a certain point, to where you can only, like, it's just a ticket, I think.
Yeah,
for having like just whatever on you. But
I believe that. Yeah. Yes, certain cities are adopting those kinds of things and regulations. Nebraska, I believe, was decriminalized until they just recently legalized medical. So yeah, Kansas is one of literally single digits number of states that has absolutely nothing. Same with Texas. So barely even.
Well, I had a buddy in Texas who had a Delta 8 farm.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then they shut down Delta 8 for Texas, and he just like ruined his whole thing he was doing. You know,
doesn't even like the CBD or that sucks, man. That's terrible. What a joke. So, how do you feel about speaking of other substances? How do you feel about cannabis compared to other intoxicating substances, alcohol, psychedelics, anything?
Well, I try not to drink too much alcohol anymore. I mean, I still drink like a couple drinks every now and then, but like mostly weed, mushrooms, and a little LSD. That's really all I mess around with anymore, you know. I've been a big like psycho nut since I was like, I started taking mushrooms when I was probably like 13. I lived out in the country, and like I had a job at a horse field. They actually grow fine and horse shit too, you know, like and I would just walk around and I would just pick them, and I mean, I would eat them like during the week, you know. It's like
sure.
Going to school and shit, you know.
You ever pay much attention or get into learning about the science of mushroom and the fungi?
Yeah.
Yourself?
I'm actually I got a couple pots, like little pods growing right now.
Neat. Yeah. It's fascinating to me. It seems like it's growing a lot more popular really recently.
Yeah. Mycologist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mushrooms are, they make the earth what it is, really. Like all like the way they grow and like feed all the trees.
Yeah, fungus in general. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I watched an interesting documentary not too long ago on that concept.
Yeah,
Gives you appreciation for nature.
it is, and it's fun to just like it's like you got to be very sterile at first, but then like after the mycelium grows, I mean, you just spray them and you just watch them keep blooming up and blooming up.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I like doing it.
yeah.
And it's actually not illegal until you dehydrate them.
Until the next process. Yep, I did know that. Yep, gotta love it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on cannabis as a gateway drug to hard drugs? Was cannabis or alcohol or something else the very first thing that you ever tried?
I think probably alcohol was the first thing I tried. I remember like just chugging all this Bud Light with my friends and then like feeling real sleepy. And then like a dopamine pincher brought me a pillow and I just passed out on this dude's fucking floor. But shortly after that, I started smoking weed, I guess. Probably like 14. But I don't think it really is a gateway drug to anything. I mean, if you're going to do shit, you're going to do shit regardless.
You're gonna experiment because for the.
I mean, everybody. I feel like most people have experimented with lots of stuff. Like
Absolutely.
You find what resonates with you. I mean,
absolutely.
I think people are more addicted to escaping reality than any particular. Like
escaping reality and feeling good. If there's something wrong with feeling good, I don't really want to be right. There's something like that.
All right. In the old days, I'd hang out with the shamans a lot.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's a silly question, but I have to ask it. At least probably most of these interviews, because it's just one of those things that stood out to me growing up with like the programs like Dare and just all the stigma that we grew up with. Even after all this time, just to insinuate that it's a gateway drug to anything is just ludicrous to me and always has been, but it's still kind of.
It was all propaganda too,
It's propaganda, and it's just been that lingering mindset, though, especially to the ignorant minds that aren't paying enough attention to this culture. They still believe in that kind of stigma. So something worth talking about, I think.
It's a big money making scheme, arresting people for doing shit they want to do.
It is, unfortunately. There's profit to be made in the prison systems. There's profit to be made from people choosing substances like alcohol or tobacco over cannabis. It's very, very money.
It's also highly taxable,
Very money driven and very, greedy. But unfortunately, really dragging our feet on people getting what they want out of it to get involved in the business side of it. Like you said, there's tax money to be made off of it. There's revenue for the cities and states to be made off of it, the whole country. So if you can't beat them, join them, I would think. They need to get with the program. It's not going to stop, and they should just go ahead and get their greedy hands in on it, and let's all work on it together. Of course, I don't want them monopolizing it and cornering the market either, but
I've known a couple people that worked for, I don't want to name any particular weed brand or company, but like worked at the farms, and I don't know. It's at least these ones I'm talking about ran by like rich white dudes, like businessmen. I was like, that's, and they don't, I don't know, they weren't really taking care of the workers that well. So I was like.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's another factor that personally I want to be more open-minded and openly discussing is, ethical consumption and ethical practices of the business and the cannabis industry and making sure.
Yeah, they were all actually trying to start a union.
Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely.
It cost a lot of money to, huh?
Can you believe that?
No, I mean, I actually went to some of the meetings where they were all talking and like trying to become a union.
Yeah.
Because it was, she had worked there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was really bad working. There's like 200 people working there with like 2 working restrooms,
Wow.
Like dudes walking around with like machine guns behind them and shit. Like I was like, damn, man, that's like crazy.
Another day of work, I guess. Goodness gracious. Let's get a little specific here. Tell me about the very first time you were introduced to cannabis. Not necessarily the very first time you tried it, but do you recall being made aware of it, getting interested in it?
I don't know. Like, I mean, of course, I guess I've introduced to it probably like just in school, but like I was always kind of into like metal and stuff, and like wanted to hang out with degenerates, you know. Like, so like I remember like the first time I ever smoked it, I was at my friend's house, like in that small town in Texas where there's like nothing, like cow fields and shit. Everybody lives in like trailers with like 2 fucking acre lots and shit. We were all hanging out at this kid's house, and like he had a roach, and we like took it apart and put it in a Coke can, you know. And it was like 4 dudes and like 1 roach, and he's like, his parents weren't there, and he's like, I know they keep it all in this bottom drawer, like. So we were going in there, we just kept like finding these roaches, but like somebody reached in and pulled out like a medium-sized bag of Coke, and we're like, oh shit. Then like we kept looking in there, and they found like this strap on and then a picture of this guy's mom pegging his stepdad.
Oh, no way. That's right.
And, but she didn't like his stepdad anyway, so I was like, who took that picture? But you know. But
wow. Yeah, that could have been blackmail for a really good Christmas present.
And then we smoked like 3 more roaches, you know.
3 more roaches. What are they gonna say? Wow, what a find. That's good. That's good stuff. Growing up in a very cannabis restricted place like Texas, did you ever get caught or in trouble growing up?
Not really. Like we would smoke like at school, like we would like just on a lunch break, like sneak up to someone's car and then drive around and then just come back and like sneak back into school. But like no one ever got in trouble that I know of. I mean, my mom was really old, and she actually didn't know what weed smelled like.
Okay.
So like me and my friend Malcolm, we'd like buy like fucking $5 blunts from this dude. I probably shouldn't say his real name, but that's so long ago. Like, and I had like these 2 recliners in my room and a TV, and we just like sit there and smoke these 2 fucking blunts every day. And my mom, she's like, "What does that smell?" And I told her it was incense. Like, and sometimes she would yell like, "Randall, put out those fucking incense. It smelled the whole house." You know, like, she was always oblivious. I mean, she was like, all my brothers and sisters are 25 years older than me, so she was like in her 60s when I was like in high school. You know?
Okay.
She was actually from Topeka, Kansas.
That's no way.
Yeah.
Well, I am too.
That's where she grew up at.
Yeah, I am too. Born and raised.
I believe my cousin is the mayor. I don't know him though.
Okay. I honestly can't say who the current mayor is, unfortunately.
His last name's Padilla.
Off the top of my head. Okay.
I don't know. I've never actually met him, so.
Okay. Fair enough. So pretty normal upbringing as far as discovering cannabis and trying to keep your head clear and stay out of trouble and getting high and going to school. You ever get any? We actually we would sneak across the street and like to this like church and like go smoke in the smoke like this little cubby hole in this church. And like when we would go back, I don't know why, but like I remember like the first class I had was like algebra, and I sat behind this like super smart chick, and like when I was high, I could like hyper focus in like on her work, and like I would copy like even like her work and the answers, like exactly what the fuck she was doing. You know? That's probably the only way I passed algebra. Really, I suck at math. Gave you X-ray vision. That's great, man. Speaking of church, I remember the bag of weed that got me in trouble the first time I bought off the front steps of a church. and I just felt like there's a God. That is his sign to stay off my stoop, boy.
Yeah. It wasn't don't smoke. It's like don't go to church. That's the lesson I learned.
Don't bring it to church. Yeah, I guess. All right. I hear you. I hear you, Lord. So you've just probably always acquired it from, from friends, word of mouth, like everyone else before it got legalized. Are you I mean,
I still like buying it like that.
Well, sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's what, we were talking about that in the last episode. Yeah. Plus pricing. It's hard to get away from cutting out all the bullshit taxation behind it.
Yeah. I mean, the U.S. mail is a wonderful thing.
There you go. True that. Amen. You go to the dispensary at all then? In Missouri?
I like trying different like treats and like dabs, of course.
Like the
every once in a while, like I get a lot of stuff in bulk anyways, but like if I go, sometimes I'll be like, well, that sounds like an interesting pre-roll, I'll just buy like a pre-roll of it or something. Yeah. And we bought some pretty good like weed honey. It was all right. I bought these weed like dried apples, and I was dipping them in the honey. I was like, yeah.
Oh, weed honey. I haven't really thought about that. That makes me want like weed caramel.
Yeah, and that'd be an easy thing to do. Like,
yeah, it probably would. Yeah, just the oil or the butter. Just make some butter. Assuming caramel takes butter. I don't know. Caramel dip.
Yeah, I think it is just sugar and butter.
I don't cook very much, if you can't tell, so I don't know shit about shit. Topics.
Like even like in Colorado, like they had like ranch packets that you mix mayonnaise with that were fucking weed fucking ranch. I was like, hell yeah, dude, you just fucking eat some fucking like eat a salad and get fucked up.
Yeah, they got everything. Yeah, I had a friend whose wife didn't really care to smoke it, so she would just, bake anything and everything under the sun with it in it, pretty much. I mean, mostly for her own personal consumption. Him sometimes too, but yeah, I mean, she would just always stay medicated through her meals. It's fucking epic.
That'd be sounds like a pretty sweet way to live, really,
Yeah, good multi-functionality. I like it.
You just fucking going to work with your fucking sack lunch. You're like, ha, you fucking.
I'm full and I'm stoned. Lowest effort possible. Fuck yeah, man. No smell at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That pot pie smells pretty good. Can I have some? No, you may not. I don't think you would stand it very well.
Yeah, when people eat something they don't know it's edible, that's fucking.
Yeah. That's not always fun.
No,
not exactly.
I think they're dying usually.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a proponent for that. You should always be able to know what you're taking.
For sure.
That's all I'll say on that. So we'll switch to
like that cop fucking video where he's like the cop steals the brownies from the fucking evidence room and he calls like 911. He's like, I think we're dying.
Oh no.
We ate some brownies. They're like, how long ago, sir? He's like,
oh no.
I think we're dying. I was like, fuck yeah. Fuck stupid cop.
Yeah. Don't eat things out of the evidence locker. You're not supposed to. What did we learn, guys?
What's another thing, like in Texas, if you have a fucking, a pan of brownies, they weigh that whole pan and that's how much weed you get charged with.
Ouch.
So you're like, oh shit, this thing weighed 5 pounds, so I'm getting charged with 5 pounds.
I think I've heard that. Ouch. Yeah, that would add up really fast. And, your record's not going to show that it was brownies. It's going to say 5 fucking pounds. So, holy shit.
So always put them in a bag, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking metal pan that weighs 5 pounds already.
Exactly. I'm like, it's cheating. Take it out of the pan at least. Crumble it up, guys. All right, we're switching to a darker topic here with what time we have left. Have you or someone you care about ever been in legal trouble over cannabis?
I went to jail for a good 6 months from DWIs, and
you said alcohol, yeah.
Half the people in there were either meth, weed, or there was more people in jail for buying the fake weed that you could buy at head shops, like that spice shit. There were so many people in jail for that.
My gosh.
which is weird too because they sell it at head shops. But
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a lot of people. So,
Interesting.
But I can't think of anybody in particular.
Well, good. Well, that's good on you. And honestly, I can't say that I know.
But I know so many people have been to jail too. You know what I mean?
Well, sure, that's fair, but not specifically for cannabis necessarily. Yeah.
Drugs, yes, I can think of.
Sure. Drugs in general, sure, yeah. Staying mostly cannabis focused. I know we talk about psychedelics a little bit, alcohol a little bit, but yeah. As far as the law and prison time, just kind of thinking along the lines of cannabis. I've only had one friend that I can think of that's gotten when he was young, he got a diversion, which is basically he I don't know, you can serve community time or you can go to a class. I think he attended some classes. It might have been online, but yeah, it's substance abuse training,
certified beautification or whatever.
Acknowledgement bullshit course that you would take, and they would kind of, I think based on his age is how he was able to get away with that. He was still going to college. And it was a first offense. So he went through some bullshit courses and it stayed off his record technically. So yeah, it's called a diversion, but that's the only legal trouble I can think of directly that any of my close friends or associates have ever been involved in, fortunately, but not to say there hasn't been and still is a lot of people that, have done time or, have that on their record, or gone to prison for it. So.
I mean, actually, this guy that I work with, his buddy, just he had his whole grow operation going, and he was trying to make everything legal. He was in the process of it.
Yeah.
Of getting legal.
Yeah.
And he got busted, and they took all his shit. And I think he has to go away for 10 years. He was this close, having a legit business.
That stuff happens too. How terrifying! Yeah. To think I mean, I don't know the details, but he probably, was trying to do his best to play by the rules and play by the system, and then sometimes.
But it's very expensive, to get your license and for all that shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Which is unfortunately why it's kind of a rich people's game, especially getting into it at the beginning of the industry. So not super accessible for the common person, but. If they could at least decriminalize and allow people to grow their own plants for...
Yeah, I mean, you can... It's pretty easy to also, I think everybody can have 2 plants here. Anyways.
Okay, in the state of Missouri. Okay. Yeah, I know state it varies.
You can get a caretaker license where you can grow 10 to where you can grow weed for other people.
I see. Do you know what the process...
You can have 1 to 2 clients or some weird shit like that. I know that's not Kansas.
It's not you're not starting a business, but I see. Huh. That's interesting.
You can my drummer has a caretaker that he buys shit from. Which is cool.
It sounds just as nice as an organ donor, certification. Yeah. I want that on my driver's license. A cannabis caretaker.
I don't think that license is that much, but I've never tried to grow weed myself.
Okay. Would you be interested in that?
I'd like to.
Yeah, sure. I would too.
That's why I like mushrooms because I feel like they're easier to grow. You don't have to pay as attention.
Really? I could see that. Yeah. I can believe that. Yeah, there's a lot of science that goes into growing cannabis, hemp, all that good stuff. It's, mind-blowing. So let's wrap up with a little bit about the band, Buzzard Fight. You guys have some
drugs. This is actually this latter year, maybe I only light joints with it. That way I don't take it somewhere and lose it because it's a one of a kind.
It'll last a little bit longer maybe, but yeah. Sure enough, you'll burn right through it. You holler, I'll make you another. You guys have drug themes and references in your music?
Kind of our album's called Lysergic Speed Diesel, which is LSD, but and our bass player is an actual truck driver, so he wanted to have he's I've had this name forever. I was like, fuck yeah. We're both, like I said, psycho nuts kind of. But
yeah.
I need a lot of weed songs. I mostly get real high and try to write movies in my head,
Yeah. You guys have any like innuendos about being high or anything in your music? It's just a very being high vibe for sure. I don't necessarily know what all the lyrics entail, but it gives me
Yeah,
good
a lot of
high
them are kind of like
energetic vibe.
they're like there are a lot of weird stories I just make up. Like one of them's about like this guy, this like redneck dude who makes like the best fucking moonshine, and this fucking aliens are they're they're out of fuel, but like somehow they know that this guy's moonshine is the only thing that can get them back home for their UFO, and like, but he doesn't want to give it up, so they get in a big battle. It's I don't know, I get high and think of weird shit like that.
So,
That's usually what I think about.
the music in of itself is you being high.
Yes,
That's what I'm hearing. So it's in there. It's so deep in there that it is you. The band is the high.
maybe like I take forever to put together a song because they usually have like a lot of parts.
Yeah, sure.
And that's because I just sit around getting high, like, oh, this part's cool, and it's in the same key. I can mash all this together. Then I really try to sit down and like if it was like each song was like a soundtrack to a movie, and I try to write that movie in my head.
Sick. I can see that. You guys have, yeah.
I try to let the music influence like what my words are going to be about.
Yeah, I can see that. Very intricate parts and chapters.
I know a lot of people like write down a lot of lyrics and then put that to the songs, but like I like the music part more than I am better than writing lyrics, which I actually was an English major, but
okay.
it's just looking,
It all comes together for you in the end, though, clearly. Yeah, that's the one thing about music. It can call you in all kinds of directions. You just got to follow it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
How about
Randy,
you?
wrap it up, man. We got a minute left. Thank you
Okay, shit.
for joining me, dude. It's been fun chatting with you. You had some great stories to share. I really appreciate it. Randall,
Yeah, man. Thanks
Buzzard
for having me.
Fight. Everyone keep an eye out for Buzzard Fight from Kansas City, Missouri.